What's up, everyone? After a week away, I am back here to host your favorite Orange County Soccer Club show. There's none other like us. We got this. We're gonna have fun tonight. I don't know if my fellow co-host last week discussed, hey, this past weekend we had a cup match. It's a cup match. We all know what's gonna happen in a cup match, right? It happened. We're going to talk about that. We're going to look ahead to the future. Let's get this show started. Welcome to the Show of Champions. This is the Orange and Black SoccerCast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black SoccerCast, your first and only show dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. And joining me on the show this week, the man who filled in for my lead host duties last week, that's Dylan. Dylan, we've been doing this now since 2018. Where is your trademark intro, like every week, every episode that you're hosting in place of me?
I don't think I understand the question, but I'm going to admit that I did try and open a beer while you're introducing me, and it's now everywhere. So I'm a little distracted. What?
No, because I think anytime someone hears me introducing the show, they could probably go verbatim with me. It's almost like lyrics, right? It's the exact same intro every single time. You do it differently. You're not just wondering when you're going to create your own 30-second intro for the show.
Probably never, to be honest with you. What is I believe it's acetic, which means not acidic. I believe it means that the creation of something or the performance of something is different every single time, so that it takes on a different meaning every single time is my approach to things typically.
There we go. We got one other person helping. Yeah, we got one other person helping us out for this episode. That is Brad. Brad, challenge for you. Do the intro like I do it right now. Go.
No. Instead, I'm going to ask you, what did you mean by we talked about the game this past week and we knew it should have happened? What were you alluding to should have happened or we knew was going to happen?
Dylan, do you want to answer this for Brad since he seems clueless about this?
Brad, we typically like to exit early in the cup rounds.
Oh, I thought he was talking about playing the kids because we were talking about not playing the kids and the kids.
Oh, I have something to talk about that, Brad. I have a couple things I want to discuss about this match. I appreciate you previewing that for all of our listeners. Before we get started, how are you feeling after cup loss this weekend, Brad?
I'm feeling like the tread on my tires were just fine as is.
Maybe you need to get some Prinx tires or something. I don't know.
There's probably not even a distributor nearby.
Yeah, probably not in this neck of the woods. They're more central of the country. Let's get into this, right? We're talking about the USL. Okay, I guess North USL Open Cup, better known as the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Orange County hosted. I'm just watching the highlights, y'all. So if I got a little distracted, it's because we had some stormtroopers leading out the.
It was Star Wars night, Ray.
I get it, but stormtroopers leading out the teams, they should maybe lead out El Paso and have the good guys leading out Orange County. But that's just my take on that. But Orange County did host El Paso in the first match in the group stage of the Prinx Tires USL Cup, what we like to call the Malort Cup, formerly known as the Jägermeister Cup. Orange County had a decently rotated side in this match. We will talk about that. They went a half with basically a 0-0 score, which is typical OCSC soccer in 2026. They even actually went ahead early on in the second half from a headed in goal from a ball bouncing in front of the net. Grayson Doody, props to him, and awesome to see the celebration with not just himself, his teammates, and the fans there in front of County Line Coalition. But unfortunately, Orange County concedes 2 goals after that to lose the match, partially probably because they were only playing with 10 men due to a second yellow that happened in that second half, resulting in a red. Thus, they were shorthanded. I think most people will be watching this and be like, if you look at the action and what happened, El Paso probably deserved the victory based on what you're seeing. But we'll talk about that as well. Dylan, let me just get your thoughts. You got my thoughts. I gave you a general overview of the match, not really any thoughts yet. I will give you thoughts. Y'all are going to love this. What are your thoughts on the match overall for Orange County in the Cup?
I'm glad that this match exists because it's a relatively free hit at offering younger players minutes. It's a free hit at getting guys like Grayson Doody back to match fitness and back up to speed. Do I care about tires? No. Do I care about this cup? No. Would I care about this cup if it was called the Malort Cup? Probably more, but still no, to be entirely honest with you. I don't know if that counts as an AFRA because it's only one syllable. Anyway, great. Orange County got to really kind of practice its general idea. We go down a man, and then, I don't think you expect us to win that match at that point. I don't think you really expect any team to win that match at that point. So, hey, it happens. I'm just glad it wasn't in a leak because who cares, man?
And I'm just going to say this. I guess Dylan's expecting all of our listeners to dust off their old Webster's dictionary, pop it open, and try and figure out what some of these words he is using in this episode
mean. It was
mean.
a Jeopardy flute.
Okay, don't worry about it. Brad, was El Paso the deserving winner in this match, in your opinion? And you could share any other thoughts, general thoughts on the match as well.
I mean, probably, yes, I do think El Paso is the deserving winner. I will amend Dylan's prior statement, though. The only team that I would expect to win a match a man down would be whoever Orange County plays that is currently down a man against us. Regardless of that, this match was very interesting to see, kind of, I guess, a little glimpse inside what the team thinks of the cup and what our position is in it. No issues with playing a younger lineup. Definitely agree with Dylan there. The team rotated in a lot of youth, gave players that haven't seen some time. We played a 15, I think now 16-year-old. Happy birthday, Apollo. And kind of got what we expected out of the game. So can't complain with the result, and I'm happy that the space does exist. But if this is what the team thinks of the cup, we've been spouting it. We kind of agree the cup's not very interesting anyways.
All right. I will give you all that. You all both seem to be fine with what my first gripe with this match is. And it's not really with this match. It's just the decision of where to do something like this. That is the rotated side. We saw quite a few rotations. Goalkeeper, one of them. A few position players rotated. Obviously, we saw like Tom Brewitt wasn't in the starting 11. We didn't see Liam McKinnon in the starting 11. Rotated side for Orange County. Here's my gripe about this. And you can go back to a month or so ago when we were talking about a match against Laguna United, where I felt like if there's ever a match in the season where you rotate the side, you play youngsters, and you give players some playing time, that is the match against a lower level team like Laguna United, who in the previous year had an abysmal showing in the Open Cup. And Orange County went out with a pretty much full, strength starting 11, or at least players that you anticipate to see week in and week out in the starting 11. They dominate that match, but that's a great opportunity for the young players. We go skip ahead now to the USL Cup, and we see them rotate and bring in a lot of young players. I get it. We want to see that. I agree with y'all too. It sort of shows us what Orange County thinks of this competition compared to the other ones. But this is against an El Paso side that is at least a quality team in the Western Conference of the USL. I'm not trying to be mean about this, but you have fans at the stadium who paid tickets to see a good match, see their favorite players and you do a pretty heavy rotation in this. I get why it happens. You need to give players playing time, but I just am frustrated that they didn't do the same type of rotation against a team like Laguna United in the Open Cup when you have an obvious opportunity to do so. That's where my gripe is with that. And if you all have any rebuttals to that, if you all have anything you want to say to me to put me in my place, go for it. I'll let y'all do it.
Yeah, I got one for you, Ray. This is the way I'm thinking of it. Would you rather, and I'll put your team on the spotlight here, would you rather see Tottenham win the Premier League, or would you rather them win the League Cup, or whatever it's called? Not the FA Cup, but the Carabao Bill.
It is the League Cup technically, and that's harsh to
Yes.
the League Cup.
But I know the sponsor is like Carabao Energy Drink or something, but which one would you rather Tottenham win? Because I guarantee you Tottenham's not playing their A squad in all of those games either.
Well, your argument doesn't quite match. The argument should be, would I rather see them play, you should be comparing the FA Cup and the League Cup, not the Premier League and the League Cup, because I'm not even talking about the USL Championship Cup. I'm talking about the FA Cup against Laguna United, or not FA, the US Open Cup against Laguna United, and the match against El Paso in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. In the end, it's competition. It's showing your fans something. Yes, I don't mind rotated sides. I'm just frustrated. Like, out of every match possible, when you really look at it, Laguna United is the best chance of having a simple day at the office, regardless of if you're rotating the side with young players or you're, whatnot. Because even like when you look at this competition we're talking about right now, AV Alta, they did something to us last season, right? I mean, it's higher level. So again, that's just where my frustration is. I don't mind the rotation. I just wish the rotation was done also against Laguna United, because hey, if we don't care about this competition, that's now we're like saying, well, we're not really going to have many opportunities to rotate our side anyways. But yeah, there's my frustration with it. Dylan, do you have anything to say before I move on to my, we got producer Andy has something to say. I love this. I want to hear this. Go, producer Andy.
You want to hear it? And I don't have the answer to this, but I know there is money for advancing in the Open Cup. I don't know if there's money for doing anything in the USL Cup.
I would assume there has to be some sort of monetary benefit for teams to participate in something like this. It probably is minimal, but it's something. Brad or Dylan, if you know the answer to that question, by all means share it. But there has to be something. There's no reason that teams are going to potentially lose money on a competition or a competitive night just for the sake of losing money.
See, the thing is, when it comes to the Open Cup, we have the opportunity to be the team playing up a division, to be the team playing an MLS side. And with this Prinx Tires, we kind of know that they're stacked against us in the beginning, because the current format essentially says one team makes it out of the division. And so I don't really see the incentive that, Andy's argument brings. And I know he's not arguing one way or another, but essentially I don't see that there being something to play for in this cup. And using it, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say using the cup to play the younger players, give them the minutes to spotlight exactly what we've been singing from the rooftops of. We are a club that, if you're a kid, come play with us and we'll get you to England. We'll get you, or not England, we'll get you to Europe.
By all means, that means start them against Laguna United for sure. Yeah, you can rotate in this match as well, but I'm just baffled as to why we didn't rotate against Laguna United. I want to not waste too much time on this, unless Dylan, you have something very important to say. I want to move into my second gripe of the night before we wrap things up on this match.
Yeah, just a quick yes or no question for you, Ray. Are you getting paid by the amount of times that you mention Laguna United on this podcast tonight?
No, I 100% am not. Okay. I'm just saying. Great. That's a great question. I thought you were going to talk about Prinx Tires the number of times I'm mentioning them on this show as well. Second gripe of the night. You have Apollo in the match making his first start for the club in this cup draw against El Paso. He picks up a yellow card. You make substitutions at halftime, but he's not one of those substitutions that you make at halftime. Again, you're putting faith in a very young 16-year-old to have the knowledge and the ability to read the situation to not pick up a second yellow card. I am very disappointed in Coach Danny Stone in that moment for setting up Apollo for failure in that situation. Am I being too harsh on Coach Danny Stone on that, Dylan?
I think you can realistically trust a player to not pick up another card. And unfortunately he does, but if he's a fullback, for example, or a center back, and he looks like, let's go back a couple weeks, right? If he's having a night like Alex Crognale was having a couple weeks ago and you pull him off, I get it. Absolutely. But someone that's largely having a good performance, I don't think you pull him off just because he's been booked. At some point, in a men's quote unquote match, with the big boys, not just in the academy matches, like you will have to figure out how to not pick up a second yellow card. And hey, does he play for an hour and then that's it? Maybe. And we just missed out a little bit. But I don't think you can really be too harsh on a 16-year-old, nor can you be too harsh on the coaching staff. Orange County has really built its, for lack of a better term, brand, I suppose, on giving opportunities to younger players and letting them play and figure out and develop. And sometimes you have yellow cards and red cards, and sometimes you have 6 weeks of center backs making poor mistakes, but they have to figure it out eventually. And they do figure it out. And so I think Orange County needs to remain true to themselves here and continue offering these chances. Sometimes you get burned in a meaningless cup match.
I love that Dylan's using all these big words early on the show, and then he comes up with brand for what Orange County is doing here. Brad, you have to understand where my frustration is on this, though, right? This is a young player. He hasn't had many opportunities to play at this level in his career, and he's picked up a yellow card. You have to comprehend and understand, like, this is a teenager. A male teenager, for the fact, right? There's like research that shows like their brains aren't fully developed. They can't make the best decisions at this age. And you have to put them into a successful position. That is the role of the head coach, is to make their players or put their players in successful situations so that they can be successful out on the pitch. In this instance, in this type of match on a yellow card, you have to take him out. Don't put him in that situation where now he may feel that he is the reason why his team lost, because we were ahead when he got that second yellow card. We were up 1-0 at that point. Now we're down a man, and it's tough on the players, and we end up losing. This is where my gripe is Coach Stowe needs to set up his players for success. I think when you're making those changes at halftime, he should have been one of the absolute, let's rotate him. Let's get him out of the side so he doesn't pick up a second yellow. Brad, you can disagree with me, but you have to agree with me.
I'm going to flat out and overly emphasize that I disagree with you. And it's pretty simple, Ray. I would rather my player make this mistake, and my 16-year-old player make this mistake in a, Dylan and I think are blue in the face. And for all those people listening and thinking, man, Orange County lost the first game of this cup, and that's why these hosts are downplaying the significance of the cup. Go watch 2-3 weeks back go watch last season before that even started, where I said this is a stupid cup. It doesn't need to exist. It only exists because the MLS teams were boycotting the Open Cup, and the USL thought it would be a good idea to promote interleague, activity. I don't think this cup matters, and therefore I think it's the perfect spot for my player to get a red card at 16 years old, his first ever professional red card, and therefore his first ever, failure in the league. You can't succeed without failing. How many teams go into the playoffs, lose in the playoffs, come back, make another playoff run, and win the playoffs because they know what the defeat in the playoffs is like. I'd rather my player make a mistake here and give me the chance to have a player maybe learn what it's like to play on a yellow and fail than to have that happen in the playoffs of the regular season, because we do playoffs in this league.
Okay. Y'all are allowed to disagree with me all you want. I would just say
Done.
I see grown men in every league in this world that when they're on a yellow and it's bordering, they might be able to get a red, or it's a close match, the managers pull them. So it's not just on that he's a 16-year-old player that we're pulling. It's that Coach Stowe needs to set up the 16-year-old for success. And I feel like that's a moment where he let him play a little bit on the yellow. At halftime, let's make the adjustments. Let's pull him off so he doesn't pick up that second yellow. We have full strength, and we have a chance to at least get something out of this match. I get it. It's a sort of meaningless competition. I'm not trying to short end that there. It sort of is more geared towards League One, having some matches that are worth the investment for fans. But still, I hate to see the young player get put in that situation where now they pick up that red card where he should have been rotated. That's just that. I'm going to stick on that. You guys aren't going to change my mind.
I'm just going to beat this dead horse that we probably could move on from and say, if you just pull a 16-year-old in that situation, like, one, he's not developing, he's not learning anything. And two, you're going to kill his confidence. This is,
you're not pulling him. You're not pulling him the moment he gets the yellow, Dylan.
I understand, but you pull him at halftime and you don't even give him the chance. Like, I understand you might have a chance to pull him and say, hey, you did really well. I'm pulling you because you're on a yellow. And the message that most players in that regard are going to get is, I understand I'm on a yellow, but you don't trust. You're not even going to let me. I'm playing well and it's still not good enough. This isn't a guy shipping 4 goals in 15 minutes and then getting to the hook. This is someone who is actually doing really well, who is probably pretty unfortunate to get sent off in this situation.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
So that's not a coaching failure. That's not a club failure. That's not a failure of the player. This is a thing that happens, but it is a thing that you have to let happen at some point. You can't I mean, your kids have probably failed at something before. I have failed at so many things in my life. And sometimes you set yourself a goal and you're making your first. He did play in the Open Cup for Columbus, so I don't want to say that this is the first real match he's ever played in, but I've set myself goals before and I've failed. It happens. But
100% agree with Dylan there, Gray. Sorry. If you pull a player like that at halftime in a game, it just shows that they're not going to take accountability for that, or you don't need to face accountability that we're going to bail you out. If you're going to give your senior player who's on a yellow the chance to play on a yellow, your center back, if in your game against Phoenix, you can't take out all of those players in the Open Cup. Out of the 15 you said yellow cards, we only have 5 subs. So assuming that we had at least 6 players on the field with a yellow, you can't pull them out. They have to learn how to play with it, and he didn't succeed with it. It's something that I think we've spent way too much time on and need to move on from in the first place.
We will. But I'm going to get the last word in, Brad, just so you know.
And he will move on too.
I just want to give the last word to Superfan and weekly listener Maddie King for saying that she doesn't think that we'd be having this conversation if one of our
we have it all the time.
Players got this red after second yellow. We did not have this conversation about Garrison Tubbs, who's 8 years older a couple months ago. The focus would instead be on the player.
We did have the conversation about Tubbs, but it was on him because he was more of a veteran.
Because he's
player.
8 years older, and So the issue is here.
You just proved Maddie correct.
You have teenage sons.
Here's my last thing I'm going to say about all this, and then we're going to move on. I get the last word because this is my show. I'm taking the word on that. Here's what I say is I get you all are like, oh, if you take him out, it's going to ruin his confidence. You take him out and you make it a teaching moment that soccer is not an individual sport. It is a team sport. I am taking you out for the betterment of our team so we have a chance to be successful in this moment. I'm not saying that you're going to make the mistake. I'm trying to be proactive and make sure I'm not even letting you be in the position of now putting us down a man. This is part of the team aspect of this. We are a team. We win as a team. We lose as a team. It's not on you. It's the decision for the team. Let's move on because I know we have a guest coming on pretty soon, and I do want to talk about this upcoming weekend really quick before we get the guest on. Orange County is going to continue their competition this weekend in Dylan's neck of the woods, Sacramento, against Sacramento Republic. Dylan, I'm going to let you have first word on this. You probably will get final word on this as well because you are in that area. So go for it, Dylan.
Yes. Sacramento was once known as the city of trees, and perhaps it's better known now as the city of thieves. More on that later. Here's the thing. Sacramento is getting a bunch of draws. Sacramento has not particularly played all that well. And Heart Health Park is a very toxic environment. So pretty much Sacramento doesn't do super well against teams that can defend for long stretches of time. And Sacramento is prone to teams that will cross the ball. Largely, the Neil Collins era has been defined by, what do we do? Oh, Jacker is standing over on the far touchline. Just serve him the ball and he'll whip it in. Sacramento is very, very, very prone to suffering and conceding from that same thing. Danny Vitiello, who will be mentioned on Saturday night as being the league's all-time leading goalkeeper in terms of clean sheets, is showing signs that maybe he's not coming into his peak as he's reaching 30 or 28 or however old he is. So this is a team that is pretty deservedly not at the top of the table right now. This is a team that, thanks, Brad would let me know that he's 30. That hairline makes me think he's 65. Believe me, I have to watch them all the time. So here we are. Anyway, this is a team that has been fortunate to draw a handful of matches, therefore has a handful of points. But game plan, defend well, go out and whack Arturo Rodriguez like 30 seconds into this match and just watch half the team lose their heads because, that's largely what happens. And when the fans start getting on top of their own players and on top of the refs, it really just creates this like caustic, horrific environment to be in. But it does not actually propel their team forward any. So you just like man mark Blake Willie as he makes late runs into the box and force former Orange County man Danny Crisostomo into an early booking, and you can get 3 points. It's really that easy.
What about you, Brad? What are your thoughts on this match for Orange County? What do they need to do to be victorious in Sacramento?
Yeah, I think Orange County needs to, focus on returning the ball into the back of the net. More on that later. And in all seriousness and honesty, the team needs to really focus on keeping the midfield intact, working through Sacramento, because what we saw, I know the three of us were up late a couple weeks ago watching Sacramento versus Minnesota United in the Open Cup. That game was a real slugfest in terms of no team really wanted to take and generate any threat, especially in the midfield. Not very many chances were generated, especially from Sacramento. And you can say that Minnesota United is the better team than the MLS team, but I don't think they fielded a real high-end team. I think they had James Rodriguez playing in that game, which I find absolutely hilarious as as he was a former Evertonian. And I would have loved to have been there in person and to be able to cheer him on. But Sacramento, went on to lose that game in pens with some of the silliest penalties that I've ever seen attempted. And that was probably the highlight of my week that week. I know that's a very shallow thing to be excited about in a week, but Orange County, if they continue to play with a solid midfield, continue to press high, continue to generate offense through defense, we're going to find the back of the net eventually in this game. I know Dylan's looking at me, offense through defense. What is he, John Madden?
Really quick, before we move on from this, I want to just get quick score predictions. Dylan, you go first.
2-1 Orange County and like 7 yellow cards.
All right, Brad.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to agree with the 2-1 Orange County and at least 3 fan ejections. What?
Wow. Okay. I didn't know we were like adding on to our score predictions here. I'm going to predict 1-0 Orange County in this match. We're going to it's going to be a defensive battle, and we're going to get that 1 goal to sneak by and get the 3 points on the road. Dylan, bonus points for you if you can get a crew of people to swap out or grab the C and the O from that California sign and put them next to each other, OC, and take a picture with it. Let's move on. One of those players that will hopefully be part of this action and a result that's victorious for Orange County is Orange County defender Grayson Doody, who is joining us on this episode. Grayson, welcome onto the show. How are you doing, my man?
I'm good. Can you guys hear me all right and everything and see me fine?
We can hear and see you perfectly. I want to jump onto this very first question just to get out of the way so we can talk about what's going on right now. But if my math is correct, it was, I think, 354 days between your match in against AV Alta and then your return match against New Mexico recently. That's almost a year for those of you trying to do the math correctly. As a professional athlete that I'm assuming loves playing this game, that's why you're doing this for a job. How frustrating, how difficult is it to be out that long and the recovery, and what's it like to finally get back on the pitch after such a long breakaway?
Yeah, first of all, great math. I mean, I was kind of counting it too once I was getting closer to the return date. And I mean, yeah, nearly a year. It was a new experience for me in just my career. I've never really had injuries, something I've kind of been lucky enough to kind of go through college and go through most of my career without picking up anything. So when a devastating injury like tearing my ACL and being out for a year, it was quite the reality check for me. The world was turned upside down. I didn't have soccer as quite the outlet. Looked at life differently, learned different things about myself. And yeah, it was a crazy experience that had a lot of blessings and disguises. But yeah, returning, I mean, being at training day in, day out, seeing the guys work towards a goal and not being able to fully make a difference on the field. Kind of everything I had to do was in the gym, giving them energy. So now to be back, fully being a part of it, having a role within the team, and just being a competitor on the field. That's why we all do it. That's what we enjoy. So yeah, to be back is definitely a blessing and a relief. And yeah, I couldn't say time flew by because it definitely felt like it went by slow, but I'm happy to be back. That's for sure.
I'm glad to hear, and we're glad to see you back out there. Part of that excitement is we saw you this past weekend getting that goal, using that head of yours to knock it into the back of the net. Oh, run us through that whole moment, like seeing that ball. I hear from athletes all the time, it's sort of like a slow motion moment, like that ball's right there, queued up for me. Is that the way it felt for you? Like the slow motion moment, I got to get that in the back of the net. And then what was the whole celebration like for you with yourself, the teammates, and right in front of the fans there?
Yeah, I mean, the whole play was a pretty good build-up. We started in the back of our 18, and I felt like I was just kind of running also out of excitement to go forward because I felt like we had a good play going for ourselves. Jameer had a great switch to Apollo, and I kind of just naturally kept running. Part of me was like, maybe it'll fall to me, but part of me is like, I'll be the first one to celebrate if Apollo makes this right now. So I was just kind of running, excited. First shot got blocked by Apollo. He was doing well to follow it up. And then I was running in, and I thought Paulo's kind of lob back post was going to go in. I saw the defender slip, and it did catch me off guard when he actually got ahead to it. And it kind of was a little slow-mo. It was a little – everything slowed down for a second. I definitely in my head was like, don't hit it over, just put it on frame. And yeah, just really dove at it so I wouldn't try and do too much. And yeah, once it went in, I mean, to hear the fans, everyone at the champ celebrating, and then just to look and running to the corner flag and seeing all the guys on the bench just running down to the corner flag, everyone's super excited, cheering. It was an incredible, special moment. Everyone was, on the team has known how far I've come from the injury, and to have that moment to score a goal. And at the time it was the winning goal. So it was a good moment, a special moment, just with guys that I definitely cherish just every relationship with. So one that I will never forget. It was awesome.
And I love it. For those that maybe only listen to audio version, our producer Andy put on the comments that maybe he had a tear sneak out of his eye, but he's maybe thinking it's the smoke. I think it's more probably just the beauty of the moment there. Brad, I'm going to hand it off to you for some more questions here.
Thank you, Ray. And, Grayson, thank you for your answer there. I think you're the first player that I've been on the show for that when we ask, what's it like? We walk us through that experience, that the answer wasn't just mind went blank, ball went in net. My favorite one of those, coming from Bryce Jamison from last season. But my first question for you, when you were here in Vegas, as you know, I live here in Las Vegas. When you played for the Lights, I remember our game against you guys, Orange County versus Vegas, and seeing you play and thinking, man, that player is someone that I'd love to have on the team, and I'm super happy that you're on the team, and unfortunate about the injury. But obviously, we love your game so much, and we do like to ask players, where do you model Grayson Doody's game off of? Is there a specific player that you've watched in your past? Is there a specific idol that you look towards?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a huge Eden Hazard fan. Back at Chelsea, he was my number one guy that just kind of made me fall in love with the game. That was back in my winger days, and I loved him for that. I slowly transitioned to a guy like Dani Alves, just kind of that bite defensively, that excitement to kind of go 1v1 when he was matched up against Ronaldo. Those two were kind of my main influences. But I will say now, like I tend to just pick up, at least try to. There's a lot of great players that I've played with, even here, that I just try and pick up little traits that I think, are cool and something that you can kind of take into your own game. So now it's kind of just a constant evolution to try and see like, oh, I like this player that he does this on our team, or this person's good at that. So now I'm just trying to learn from everyone, honestly. I think it's just keeping it open and seeing what traits I admire and maybe can apply to my game. And it's constantly changing for the better, hopefully.
Awesome. I got two more. One's a little bit more serious. The other is a little goofy. The first question that I have for you there is, what personal goals do you have for the remainder of the season? Obviously, you're just getting into the swing. We're going to see you a lot more in the 18 and the 11. What are some goals you have going forward?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, after being hurt for so long, I've really just want to focus on staying healthy, making sure I'm doing my recovery stuff before and after. I just want to be available. I want to be an option for the coach that, he can rely on, that I'll be ready to go fitness wise. And yeah, I just hope to really help the team. I obviously would love to be a big role in that, but we're doing well, and I want to help this team go as far as we can, because frankly, it's a good group of guys and it's a special group. So whatever that is, if it's playing, if it's helping everyone get to their goal, I just want to be a part of it. I want to be on the field as much as I can, and I just want to be there for my teammates as much as I can. And team goals are definitely the ones that are bigger, in my opinion, than the individual ones at the moment. But yeah, we'll see how far it goes.
All right, and then my last question for you, Grayson. Obviously, I know that the fans in the County Line Coalition are working very hard on a chant for you. Do you have any feedback on what you would like to have from the fans out there?
Hey, they can get creative. I wear Doody number 2 for a reason, so I'm pretty laid back with whatever they want to come up with. So feel free to get creative with the last name, the number 2, whatever it is. I'm open for anything, and I'm not strict about it. So I'd be excited to see what they come up with.
All right. Speaking of those fans, I know producer Andy, part of the CLC, has hopped in and had a couple questions for you.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Hey, Grayson, and I'm not going to ask you exactly what happened, but I will just say many years ago when I was a younger man, I also had a pretty bad knee injury, and not being a professional athlete by any stretch, I had a long recovery process. And there were a couple exercises during rehab that were just absolutely awful. One of them, I had to stand on an upside down Bosu ball, and they would throw a weighted ball at me. You're nodding like you know what I'm talking about. So I'm curious, what is your least favorite exercise from rehab?
That's a great question. I've definitely got a lot. Shout out our trainer Rick and Tanner. They would create my plan and day out. I swear, I was asking them questions. It's like, what? Where did you even get this from? Like, it's some niche exercises, and it worked to perfection. The Bosu ball was a big one, and if those who don't know, it's a half medicine ball. You're balancing on it. You're trying to just do whatever you can, especially when your knee is not the strongest thing, to kind of stay there. I naturally think I go back to Rick and I. At one point, we just had this long band, and he would just basically wrap it around me and make me run as fast as I can or side shuffle as fast as I can. And I'm either dragging him, but for the most part, it was like I was trying to drag him but couldn't really get him going. So bands were also getting creative of holding me back, single leg squats. I mean, there are countless ones that, yeah, I don't know if I'll do them again. So hopefully not. But they were interesting for sure.
Yeah, it gets a little bit feeling like a circus performer. I don't have another question, but I will say we're still kind of workshopping the song. But if you're familiar with the diarrhea song from when you were in like middle school, that's kind of what we're working on right now. We're still kind of figuring out. We haven't quite got it, but we'll get it. We promise.
I love it. It's right on brand with my last name, so it's perfect.
Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and let Dylan have you for a little bit.
Grayson, just want to start by saying congrats and well done on getting back from a pretty severe injury. This feels very weird to me. I'm not that much older than you, but you are 24. But can you speak to mentally, does anything feel different? Do you feel more mature than you did this time last year?
That's a good question. I feel like I'd be lying if I said, yeah, I feel more mature. Like I do to an extent. I think trials and adversity in just life, and just the more you go through life, the more you pick up experience. And I still find myself watching Cars animated and finding motivation and inspiration in that. So like in spaces, I still have that child in me. And I think it's good. Like, I think I'm young, I'm energetic. I get along with all the younger kids on the team and the older guys as well. So, yes, I would say last year for sure has changed my perspective a lot, especially when it just comes to soccer and how I've kind of evolved in terms of appreciating the game, and understanding the responsibility of taking care of yourself, and just handling in the day in, day out body. So I feel like I've become more mature for sure as a professional. And yeah, but like I wouldn't get too carried away with too mature, because I definitely still have that young goofy side.
There's nothing wrong with that. I was going to be like, oh, and how has your role evolved on the team? No, never mind. I mean, what specific scene from Cars is getting you up on a day where you're really not having it otherwise?
Yeah, I mean it's him and Lightning McQueen and Mater. I think I like that friendship. I like that there's Lightning McQueen's a little, there's a few times where Mater's getting dirt all in Lightning McQueen's fresh new rims and everything. But I mean I like the adversity he went through and kept coming back and rode the side of the wall, flipped to end up winning the race for it all. So the whole movie is a special one and very nostalgic that I gotta cling back to.
It's just because we're here now, and I can't help but go, and we're really gonna work on this metaphor here. If you are Lightning McQueen, which one of your teammates is Tomater?
Oh, that's a great question.
Grayson's dreading the fact that he brought up this friendship.
I just want you to know that my brain immediately thought Tom Brewitt, and I don't know why, because I cannot imagine a world in which the Scouser is Larry the Cable Guy. But here we are anyway.
Maybe the center back traits, I can see him, getting gritty, getting the job done. I got it's between two. It's between two is what my head's really coming down to. It's my two roommates. It's Chris Hagar or Nico Benalcazar. I think they got a little Mater tendencies. Maybe more Chris around the house from time to time. You see some things left around. Nico's pretty good, but he kind of has that goofy Mater side. The dishes. They're watching this right now, so. Probably one of them. I'm gonna give it to one of them for sure.
Love it. I think your sister, if I remember this correctly, Kaden, said that it is most definitely Chris. So I will stop asking you to hoist yourself on your own petard, if you will, and instead, Grayson, do you have any messages to presumably every member of your family that is commenting right now, and/or just the fans of Orange County in general?
Yeah, of course. They are my biggest support system. Kaden, Josie, my dad, Dennis, they are my world. They were screaming the loudest for sure at the game when I scored. My sister still has her voice lost after 3 days after a 5-second scream. She was screaming so hard. So huge shout out to them. They're my rock. They're my world. I love them. They're the best. And yeah, I'm glad they're watching. They're always tuned in. They always want to listen into these podcasts. They're always intrigued about what the new tea is, as my sister would say. But yeah, huge shout out to the family. Love them.
Perfect. I'm going to jump on. I have one more question, but we did have a fan question come on up here. So we'll go ahead and ask this here. As someone who, this is coming from Jose Bruin. So as someone who regularly watches UCLA soccer, how does UCLA soccer program set up a pro pathway for players like you and others?
Yeah, great question. Just UCLA had been my dream since I was a kid, just going to the UCLA games. So I think, early on, you understand how big of a program it is and how special it is, how much of an honor it is to wear UCLA across your chest and wear something it's bigger than yourself. And with that is responsibility and respect from, honestly, scouts, from teams in the MLS, and just it attracts a lot of attention. UCLA soccer has been, especially in the past, the biggest pathway. And guys like, my boy Tucker Lepley, spent 4 years with him. Sergey, he's killing it now at RSL. Like, these are top players that get recruited, but come to UCLA knowing that that's the platform that they can use to then get to where they need to be, get to the professional level, and know that there's just attention and there's going to be success there, and it's expected, and there's just an honor with playing at UCLA that I cherished, and is probably one of my fondest memories of soccer. and just wearing the blue and gold. I can't rave enough about UCLA, the coaching staff, Ryan Jordan. They're doing a great job over there. They know how to raise, boys to men and men that are responsible and carrying on priorities that are, let's achieve our dreams. Let's work for it. Let's work hard, and let's make sure good things happen in life when you work hard. And, they sell the dream, and honestly, they follow up with it too. And, we're players that are testaments to that. And I can just tell that the program has such a good foundation with the staff that's there that it's only going to grow so much more because it's a special place. It truly is. And I miss it. And I loved every second of being there.
And I'm just going to say right now, I'm an old person. My eyes don't work as good. I said Jose Bruin. I see it as Joe or Joe E. Bruin. So apologize for that on the incorrect name there. One last serious question, then one last fun question. We'll let you go, Grayson. You sort of transitioned from the attacking mindset to defensive mindset at your time at UCLA. I believe that's when that sort of happened. We've seen a player like Mohamed Douar have to transition this season as a professional. What have you seen out of him that mimics sort of your transition going from attacker to defense? And have you had any help in that? Have you given him any advice or talked to him about that transition? And are you surprised to see what you've seen out of him in that short of a time?
Yeah, I think the transition to winger to outside back is happening more often, especially nowadays, and it actually benefits a lot of outside backs that have winger experiences, because especially when you're a winger, you're going up against a fullback, you're going up against an outside back, so you learn kind of like what it's like to be on both sides. And so I'm not surprised at all. Mo has done super well there, and he has so many tendencies, his athleticism, his speed, that really complement him and the outside back game. I remember talking to him kind of in preseason a couple times because it was new to him. But honestly, he's picked it up really well. I think he's done super solid. I think there's a lot more for him to even just keep going. Like, I think there's a lot of potential there. And that winger to fullback, sometimes for me, even at UCLA, was the best thing that ever happened. Like, sure, I was doing pretty well at winger, but I felt like, maybe my personality and just the outside back role suited me even more than I could have expected. And there's a little bit difference. You get to attack and defend versus winger. You're maybe more attacking. Like, it's kind of the best of both worlds. You get to go forward. You get to come, join in the defense. So yeah, I think there's so many similarities that it happens so often nowadays that, it works for me. It's working for Mo. And it's only going to get better as the season goes on, in my opinion.
Awesome. Last question for you. It's music-based. Producer Andy sort of threw something into our chats, and I'm going to go that route. When you're on a road trip, on the plane, or on a long bus ride, what's your playlist like to get you through that long journey? And what are some of the artists or songs that you're listening to on those long trips?
Yeah, I've always had pretty chill, I would say R&B type of music. Recently, an Academy kid, Oliver Koenig, has kind of been putting me a little bit on some reggae, and the younger guys have taught me kind of Brent Faiyaz. So he's a new artist I'm checking out. I like chill music. I kind of like that R&B, sometimes even older type of 2000, maybe 90s classics kind of. So I go around. I go all around. It could be anything. Olivia Dean, my sister just said. I'm a big Olivia Dean. We're always bumping that in the locker room. Yeah.
Oh man, I feel super old now because the music I listened to in high school is now considered oldies by Grayson Doody there. And I know Dylan's bummed that you didn't mention the soundtrack to Cars and, Life is a Highway by Rascal Flatts and all that fun stuff. Grayson, anything you want to share or say to the fans, maybe any fans that are making the trip up this weekend to Sacramento, or even just for the remainder of the season? What do you have to say to the fans?
Yeah, obviously, huge thank you. I spent last year with you guys in the stands, watching it, feeling a part of it. And it just feels like such a special community, great families, great people, no better place to really be, as a fan. And now being on the field and seeing the impact it has, it just truly is special seeing both sides of it. You guys are everything to the champ. You're the reason why we had such a good home record last year and why we're continuing to do well. You guys motivate us. You guys are, the foundation to this team. So thank you guys to everyone who supports. If you come out to SAC, we can't wait to see you. We appreciate your dedication. You guys mean the world to us, and we just hope we can keep winning and doing things well for you guys and bring some excitement to Orange County.
Awesome. There we have it, everyone. Defender for your Orange County Soccer Club, goal scorer this past weekend. Hopefully we see a few more of those throughout the season and a healthy season for Mr. Grayson, Doody. Grayson, as always, thank you for taking some time to speak with us, and we look forward to talking to you again in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. And I love it. We had sort of a family takeover of the chats during that interview. I think producer Andy, you can maybe correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I believe that's probably a first where we had multiple family members up in the chats, joining along, enjoying the experience with us. That's pretty cool. Producer Andy, there you are.
Yeah, I think the only other competition they might have when Pedro's family was on, when he was our guest, I know for sure his mom was in the chat. His dad might have been too. I'm not sure. It's been a while.
You know what? It's awesome to see that love and support from family on the show. And we love to see it. Like this is an opportunity for the players to sort of just share themselves with the fans and let the fans get to know them a little bit. And part of that is we now know that Grayson has a really good relationship with his family because they're on the show like that. Dylan, you were going to say something.
I thought it was that Grayson Doody loves the Cars movie. To be honest, I can't believe you let that one.
Hey, that's another.
I'm going to think about this all the time, probably every single day this week.
I feel like now CLC is sitting there like maybe rewriting their song for Grayson. They're trying to find a car-based song, a song from the Cars movie. I like where you're going with the diarrhea song, though. By the way, CLC, keep it going. Before we wrap things up, any other stuff anyone wants to share about soccer? Nope. All right.
I'll bite and I'll say something nice for your Tottenham team, Ray. This past weekend, Everton played against West Ham and had the opportunity to save Tottenham's season. And PGMOL owes Tottenham an apology for missing the most blatant handball ever recorded. And on behalf of them, Ray, I would like to personally apologize to your Tottenham team, although I'm sure that means absolutely nothing to you.
Not my Tottenham team right now. Maybe you missed it, but I am not following that team from North London at the moment. So I have no idea what you're talking. I haven't watched anything for probably the last month. So I have no idea what you're talking about. Dylan's like cracking up there and doesn't have anything to say, just cracking up. We're going to wrap this thing up before this becomes just a long, silent moment here. And we're going back to this. I know this is everyone's favorite. What did we learn this episode? Dylan, go for it.
None other one. I learned a couple things. The Doody family is alive and well in the chats, right? I mean, dad, probably a cousin, a sister, maybe it's another sister. I'm not actually sure. They are everywhere. And beyond that,
our chat was full of Doody.
How am I supposed? What am I supposed to do with that?
Right. Hey, Grayson said he's all for it. He's all for
Randy. And
the
love of cars, I think is really going to just be something kind of fun to not even like tease him with, but just why not? And honestly, it's a bang on the soundtrack. Life is a Highway is probably the worst song on it. Brad, what'd you learn this week?
Yeah, I learned that we could have a riveting 10-minute discussion over coaching tactics that probably, has more to do with our philosophies as parents / future potential parents instead of, actual on-field performance.
So I know you guys hate when I bring this up, but I did coach for 8 to 10 years. So I didn't bring it up as parenting thoughts. It was my mindset as a coach of what I wanted to see from another coach. in that situation. That's what that was all
And
about.
it's
It had
flawed
nothing to
and
do with
weak.
aspects of things.
And it's
Nope,
flawed and
nope,
weak,
nope.
Ray. Go ahead and tell us what you learned this week, Ray.
I learned that my fellow co-hosts this episode have no idea how to coach, and it's a good thing that they did not coach at any point in their life. What I also learned is that the music from my youth and early maybe 20s is, I guess, now considered old. And probably, I guess, if I tuned into K-Earth 101, I'm probably hearing that music on there. Apparently, according to Grayson Doody, those are oldies now. He used that word, oldies, from the 90s. Yeah, Dylan, it sounded like you were going to say something there. Go for it.
You're old. Congratulations.
I am. I've come to realize that with my blind, I couldn't read a name properly, and the music I listen to is part of oldies. With that said, I want to wrap this all up. I want to thank everyone that participated in this episode today, including my fellow co-hosts that don't know anything about coaching in soccer, Dylan and Brad, plus producer Andy, our special guest tonight, Grayson Doody, and the whole Doody family. Also, all the participants in the chats other than the Doodies. We appreciate you as well. This has been the Orange and Black SoccerCast, and we are out.